Wow, this morning's been full of surprises. Thank you for all of the visitors that have graced us with your presence this morning. Cheyenne's back. We're glad to see her. And thank you for giving us a chance. Today was kind of like Old Home Sunday, so Connie should be in hymn books, songs, yeah. So this was a different than what we planned on. Normally I don't lead the singing, but we got through that too. And he taught me that I can still read music. Because a couple of those songs, I knew that song name with another tune and a different set of words. But hey, it's in our hymn book, it's free game. So, and by the way, that's what those books are, by the way. We just bring them out every now and then just to see if they can still be used. Boy. We've been saying that this is for you all year long. Our emphasis as a church. To our Harvard Park community and anybody else that wants to listen, we're saying what goes on here is for you. Because we all need it. We all have experienced some of the stuff we've talked about this year already. And today, Jesus reaches out to people that nobody will reach out to. We're not sure what leprosy was. It's not like what's known as Hansen's disease now. But whatever it was a skin condition that went deeper than skin. It went all the way to the bone, and literally joints of your fingers would drop off. Your nose would fall off. You would have gaping holes in your body. It's kind of like, the best I can describe it, it's a bad case of psoriasis, but the skin drops off, not to be replaced. It was believed that it was a judgment of God upon that person. So once you got leprosy, you were looked upon as God saying, you got something really wrong with you, and so they would separate you from the community. Because it is also believed, and probably was, highly contagious. And you got to understand, they didn't have a lot of the stuff we have to work with medically. But in some ways, they had the herbs and the stuff, spices and stuff, and they knew how to use that, and sadly, we've lost that because most of our medications are made from petroleum. It's not made from herbals, but people are going back to herbals. I never thought I would do that, and I don't hardly eat breakfast because the time I get my herbals down, I ain't got room for breakfast. That's how it is. And that's nothing compared to what my wife does morning, noon, and night. I don't know how she eats anything. But everything has a purpose, and it works. I forgot to get a flu shot, and I didn't get the flu this year. I have to believe it's a combination of God and the stuff that she's got me on. It works. Leprosy, as near as I could tell, shows up in a national way when Moses and Aaron opposed, when Aaron and Miriam, Moses' sister, opposed Moses in front of the whole nation as to, who do you think you are, brother, to be leading this? And God told them to present themselves before him, and God made it plain who was going to lead the nation. And it was Moses, because God said it was going to be Moses. And to get the point across to his sister, because she evidently was the worst one at this, he struck her with leprosy in front of the whole nation. She turned white as snow. And that's one time white as snow was not a good thing. Because it meant that the skin had died and was ready to fall off. Then we come forward in history, and we have a foreign general, head of the armies of Aram, which was one of the ancient enemies of Israel, by the name of Naaman. Naaman was a tremendous military leader. But Naaman had leprosy. And somehow or other he must have kept it under wraps, or else their concerns about it wasn't the same as the Israelites. But it was a problem. And Naaman was told that there is a prophet in Israel that you need to talk to. He'll help you out. So Naaman comes riding in on his chariot with his retinue of soldiers, rides up to the house, and the prophet of God doesn't come out. He sends out his servant Gehazi and says, tell him to go to the Jordan River and dip himself 7 times, and the 7th time he comes up, he'll be clean, cured. Naaman was furious. Why, he's somebody. And who's this pipsqueak preacher? Sends out his servant to tell me to go to the Jordan River. Why, we've got rivers back where I came from that are cleaner. And so I'm not going to do it. He evidently wasn't a total jerk because he had a little slave girl. I don't know how he got her, but she was a little Jewess. She was from Israel. And she loved her master. And she got him settled down, and she said, would you please listen and just go do it? Sometimes kids can get adults to settle down and listen. And so he goes to the Jordan River, and he goes down once, comes up, nothing. Goes down twice, comes up, nothing. Goes down 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, comes up, nothing. Goes down the 7th time, and he comes up, and his skin is like the skin on a baby's bottom. That's the softest part. It worked. You may not understand what God's telling you to do, but if God tells you to do something, you'd best do it, or you're not going to get anything that you're looking for. A lot of people out there are praying and say, God doesn't answer my prayers. It may be that God's told you what to do and you're not doing it, and you're blaming Him for not answering prayers. Until you obey, He can deliver. And you're the one who stops Him. You listening? And you in your own heart know what God's telling you to do. It's not for some preacher or some church to tell you what to do. All we're supposed to do is to lead you to Jesus, who'll tell you what to do. And once He tells you, you best be listening. So, Naaman is as pure as he was the day he was born. Leprosy shows up with Jesus. It shows up in 2 places in the Gospels. And Jesus asked the leper in Matthew, well, what do you want me to do for you? Now, in our society where people are coarser and sarcastic and rude, I can just hear Jesus asking me, what do you want me to do for you? Well, can't you see? But that's the kind of attitude most people have. You go to God with a belligerent attitude, acting like you're in charge, it's not going to work. And too many people, even in the church, are trying to tell God what to do in their lives, when God's already told them what He wants them to do, and they're not listening. Lord, if you will, I'd like to be healed. And the Lord says, I'm willing. It may be that you need to come to the Lord this morning and say, Lord, I need to be healed. And Jesus said, I'm willing. I can't tell you when, where, or how. I wish I could. When I was fighting the cancer battle, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I do now, because I'm on this end of it. We got a dear sweet lady back here who bought a house in the neighborhood, and I pray for her a lot because that stinking house has been a challenge. In our worst days, we said demon possessed. But it's been a challenge. I mean, everything's going great, and all of a sudden a hot water heater decides to act up. That's just the way it is. Brother Bob can tell you the same thing. It's just one thing after another. You wish it'd stop. Right? And Bob has said, why did it stop? Why don't I get some peace? Why don't I get some answers? And brother, I wish I could give you the answer. But all I can say is, I hurt with you. Every now and then physically I do hurt with you because I fall off the stage and bounce my head off the floor. And now I've got a hip that's just not been the same since. By the way, getting old is not for sissies. It's not. And those golden years don't have the gold you think is there. And we won't tell you what it is, but anyway. Life's a challenge. And I can't imagine doing it without Jesus. It's hard enough doing it with Him. I'm not going to stand here and tell you, you come to Jesus and you get yourself right with the Lord and you become part of this church and it's going to be Rose Garden. Rose Garden's got thorns in it.
And it hurts.
And it hurts. But know this, when something happens, you're not going to cry alone. And if you run into a preacher in a church that's got all the answers, you better start running as fast as you can.
That's right.
Because it's not from Jesus. Even the Apostle Paul couldn't get an answer. Lord, I've had this thorn in the flesh. Would you please take it away? And God said no. I hate it when God says no. And then God says, my grace is sufficient for you. That's not what I want to hear. Kind of reminds me of the old Bill Cosby record. Lord, you see what's going on down there? Noah, how long can you tread water? Okay. I just dated myself. Half of you don't even know what I'm talking about. Because it was on a long play record.
I got that.
He's got it. Okay. Hi there, Mama's right there. I'll keep preaching. They keep coming in. Woo.
Praise the Lord.
God says, I'll get you through this. He doesn't say you'll go through without any pain or pressure or problems. He's already showed us that God who raised Jesus from the dead can take care of anything else when He's ready. I just don't know when He's ready sometimes. I look back over a section of my life where I was healed of cancer after a 2-year battle, and that was really something. By the way, it's not the cancer that almost killed me, it was the pulmonary embolisms that about took me out. Blood clots in the lungs, for people who don't know what that is. It's a real trip. It did teach me that if this is dying, this ain't bad. But I've always feared dying. I don't win if I don't like pain. But going through cancer, I found out there's pain that I can endure with the Lord's help. And Jake Hess used to say, dying ain't no big deal. We fear death, but you come to a point in your life where you will welcome it. There's been a couple times that I've said to the Lord in that process, okay, that's what you want, okay. I wasn't going to kick and scream, and I had finally come to okay. I get well, I get fired, my wife dies. I have to move because God didn't leave me homeless, but it was awful close. Because when you're a preacher and you get fired and you live in a parsonage all your life, you have no place to live. No place to go, no equity. I'm living better than I've lived ever. I am. I'm living better now than I ever have. And I'm not the one who did it. I just been along for the ride. My wife thanks my first wife because I'm not redoing the same mistakes I did in my first marriage. I've just come up with new ones. No. God's good. He gave me my job back, gave me my health back, gave me a home to live in, brought me to a town that's got so many people that don't know Jesus. I used to live out in the middle of nowhere where nobody wanted to live and everybody was moving away. There was nobody to talk to about Jesus because I'd already talked to everybody 6 times. They saw me coming. They didn't want to hear what I had to say because they knew what I was going to say, right? You've been there, out in the middle of Fort Altonia. And God puts me in the middle of the city where there's people going by all the time. I just said, God, before I die, put me someplace where there's a lot of people. Boy, did he. And then he's got a real sense of humor, put me in a school classroom. Some of it's a real challenge. Sometimes I wonder why I even do it. I had a little boy this week who I was told would be a challenge. In fact, I had a book to write notes in for his mom so they'd know how the day went. He had a stellar day. He had a stellar day. You know what that little boy did for me? He had a little star thing that was left over from something that he's supposed to put it on another piece of paper, but he had one left over. And so he took that star and he colored it yellow and said, Mr. Sheets, you need a medal. And then Mary said, you old chick magnet. I got notes from 3 little girls who love me. And yet people would say, you're old, you can't relate to kids. Well, somehow or other, I guess I do.
Yes.
But let me tell you something. You reach a point when you're grandma and grandpa age, those kids need a grandma and grandpa. Even if he's not the color they're used to. I'm having a wonderful time teaching in Springfield, Illinois. Don't you dare judge a book by the cover. I'm made out of spare parts. If I took this coat off, you'd see my waist is up to here. I got all arms and legs, and I've been made fun of that for all my life. But I'm put the way I'm put together, and that works. And I'm wearing my pants up high because I'm not showing anything to anybody anyway. Even though the culture says otherwise, I'm not doing it. There comes a time, folks, when you link up with Jesus, you don't care what the culture says, even if you sometimes feel like you're standing all alone.
Yes.
But don't let them tell you that God isn't in the school classrooms and in our buildings, because He is. God's got so many secret agents out there. It's amazing. I'm one of them, but I'm not so secret. I'm kind of obvious when I walk in. I don't come in with a Bible under my arm or anything. I I've had people who don't even know me say, "You're a pastor, aren't you?" What, I got a pee in the middle of my forehead or something? It's just because you act different. You don't come in with the attitude like everybody else does. And you don't talk like everybody else. Well, I got to tell you, God had to work on me quite a bit. I had to lose half of my language. And some of you got some language you need to lose too, but anyway, we won't go there.
I'm working on it.
I'm not even talking about you. She outed herself. I had nothing to do with that, folks. I had nothing to do with it. That dear sweet little thing, there ain't no way she'd talk that way. Anyway, daughter, be quiet. Anyway, Jesus said, "I'm willing." And he healed them. Well, there's another story there where there was 10 of them. And Jesus, for the life of me, I don't understand this, but Jesus would heal somebody. When he heals somebody, it's obvious. You can't hide it. But he says, don't tell anybody. How do you do that? They were as big a gossips back then as they are now. They could get gossip going as fast as your Facebook can. Don't tell anybody. Do what the law says. And I just show you that Jesus wasn't out to bust up all the rules. He said, I come to dot every I and cross every T. So you're healed. Go show the priest. Give the offering that the law says you give. And the priest will tell you you can burn your clothes, put on clean clothes, go home. Hallelujah! Well, today, what's the disease that everybody shuns? I can remember when it was HIV. I was in a church where my next door neighbor, he was hemophiliac. HIV killed off almost the whole hemophiliac population in America because they had to have the K factor for clotting. And that was before they knew anything was wrong with the blood. And so they literally gave all these people unwittingly HIV. Bill would come to church, and God bless him. Bill didn't, for a while, have much to do with the Lord, but God put him next. His next door neighbor was a preacher. Bill started coming to church. He sat up on the front row, right about there. You know what happened? Everybody was so scared, nobody sat any closer to him than right here. Now, I want you to know, you come to church and you're trying to do the right thing. I've never known anybody to get a disease by going to church. I've never known anybody to get pneumonia by being baptized in ice water. And I've never known anybody to get sick from drinking out of the same communion cup. That's a bunch of... Well, I'm being taped. I got to be here. Bill would be so sick, he would be over there with his head on the pew. HIV, Ebola. I don't know what the disease is now that people's afraid of. Big C, cancer, that's not contagious, but it happens. But sometimes people get cancer and everybody acts like they're contagious. I thank Bill for giving me a gift. You know what gift he gave me? He got it right with Jesus so that I could preach his funeral with a happy heart. I hate preaching funerals for people that I don't know where they went. I'm not judging anybody. But you like to have the peace knowing that they're with Jesus. I had his funeral. Neighbor across the street. I lived across the street from him 21 years. He didn't want anything to do with Jesus either. In fact, he said, "Preacher, don't get me into that Jesus stuff. I don't go in that building." And it was because as a little kid he was born out of wedlock, and that was back in the 40s and 50s when you were born out of wedlock, they called you a bastard. And he said to me, I was born a bastard, I'm going to die a bastard. And Jesus loved a bastard. I said, he loves them better than anybody else. It was a seed that was planted. I've already moved to Springfield, and I got a call one day to come back to Astoria that he was dying and he wanted to talk to me. I went back and I said, what is it that you'd like? And he was weak. We couldn't have even got him out of the house. There's no way we could have got him out of the house to take him anywhere to baptize him. He was weak. Baptized him in his bathtub. 3 days later, I preached his funeral. He gave me a gift. 2 years later, I called back to Ipava, Illinois, to a family that was, the women had something to do with Jesus, the men didn't. That wasn't a man's thing to do. They were into, sorry Bob, but they were into wood and Harley and mushrooms, fishing and shooting. They were men. They didn't need that Jesus stuff until they got prostate cancer and realized he wouldn't have survived. I want to know if I come back. We talk to him. Now some would have said, I ain't going to do that. They're not church people. They could care less. Called me because he knew I wouldn't do that. Oh, I was on pins and needles. I went into that household. I knew that that household didn't have much to do with Jesus. And they're all watching. He was so weak he couldn't get up off the bed. And he said, what are we going to do? He said, I want to be baptized. I said, you know what? God's in charge of this one. I know I'm a Christian church preacher, and I know that we, and even Baptists, believe by total immersion, but there comes a point when it's not about the amount of water or where the water's at, or it's the person got themselves right with Jesus, and they're wanting to make a public statement in front of everybody, because for him to do that, that's embarrassing. That's all his Harley and Bud friends. That's all his fishers and hunters, and they're like, I thought, man, this is water. So I said, we'll get a 20-ounce cup. And we put they got those stuff that's you put on the bed so that you don't get wet and all that stuff. We put that under him. And I said, don't make it ice water. I want warm water. Because these were the kind of people that would have pulled stuff like that. They'd have brought in ice cubes. That's just the way they were. Fun people to be around. And that was about the time that the Red Solo Cup song was the big deal. I baptized him with a 20-ounce Red Solo Cup. It didn't hit me until I'd done it. I thought, that's funny. I have this weird sense of humor. I know, I have this weird sense. I thought, take that, devil, Red Solo Cup. 2 weeks later, I preached his funeral. If you want me to preach your funeral, and I'm not taking reservations, but would you please get it straight with Jesus so I'll feel better? I know that's sort of selfish, but I'm probably one of the few preachers who will admit that. I do care that you're going off into eternity with Jesus. And if I'm not sure, it bothers me. I'm not judging. I just want to know that that's where you're going. Because there's only two ways to go. You're going to go to heaven, Jesus, or you're going to go the other place called hell. Eternal separation from God. That's what the damnation's about. I don't know how God does it, but God's going to be like He never existed. Now, if any of you have ever been rejected as a child, and you know what that feels like, Can you imagine then why that would be eternal damnation? You never existed. Just let that sink in a little. So whatever your disease, whatever your problem, you can come to Jesus and say, I want to be healed. I'm bad for just knowing that people know. No, they don't. I got a bad habit. Well, more than one, but this is one. It gets me in trouble. I'm ready to go to bed at night. I just go. You know what she'd like me to say? I feel like a little kindergarten kid because she says to me what I say to kindergarten kids. Use your words. I'm one of these people that if I go around turning the lights off and shutting things off and putting things away, you should know where I'm headed. But she'd like to say, let's go to bed. We had one night this week that we went to bed and it wasn't real nice because I didn't do it. And she said, why don't you do it? And I was being bullheaded and I didn't say anything. And she put her breathing machine on, turned over, and I went the other way. And that wasn't the way to go to bed. Does it mess up your mind that sometimes the pastors don't get it right? Or does it kind of help you to know that sometimes your pastor doesn't get it right, so he understands when you're not getting it right, and he recognizes when you're not getting it right because he does it too? Oh, that's all more than Rich can handle. Okay.
At least I now know about
So for the visitors here, we're real around here. We tell the truth. We don't mince any words. And this may not be like anything you've ever been around before, but this works in a world that needs to quit playing games and needs to be told the truth. And time is short. So if my being in the public school system is going to point some of these kids in the right direction, I'm going to do it. But I want you to know something. The adults ask for help too. So don't let them tell you that certain things don't happen. As long as there's tests, there will be praying in school. Right, young lady? As long as there's tests, there will be praying in school. We do say the Pledge of Allegiance in every schoolroom I've been in, and it's not because I insist, it's because that's what they do. I know some of you have been told some things that just aren't true. How do I know? I'm there. I see it. We've been called to be salt and light. So I'm going to make some people saltier, and I'm sure going to shed light on a lot of stuff. And I need some other salt shakers and light bulbs to help out. And some of you are. This is for you. No matter what your problem is, Jesus can handle it. No matter what your problem is, Jesus can handle it. The God who raised Jesus from the dead can handle what you think is insurmountable. And if you've got a mountain, tell it to move. In Jesus' name, move. And you'll be amazed at what happens. I said, God, I'd like to preach again. What did he do? He put me on the east side of Springfield. There you go. Barry didn't realize how fateful that 30-second phone call was going to be. But I'm here to tell you, even if I don't know what's going on, God does. And I just need to wait and let him tell me. Sometimes that means I need to learn to be quiet. I need to learn to be quiet. Listen. I'm constantly telling kids, God gave us one of these and two of these for a reason. Because these two are supposed to work. One of this one does. folks, I hope you've gotten some encouragement. Whatever it is you're struggling with, God's seen it before. And He can handle it. This morning as we sing, this is an opportunity if you have a need, to express that need. We'll talk with you. See what God will do. We'll pray with you. Whatever it is. Don't walk out of here carrying something that you need to leave here. Don't walk out of here carrying something that you carried in that you need to leave here. But that's up to you. Let's stand and sing.